So as I said, we divided this session into two, and from the beginning we have this online CDIO, a challenge, and then we have the QA session. So we all know now that we have almost all our education online due to the coronavirus and the COVID-19. And maybe that was not a shock for everyone, but it was not expected. So we have an idea, or almost decided, that we are going to create some more online standalone sessions around CDIO before we are coming to the possibilities to have face-to-face workshops in a different format. And to do this, we were formulating some sessions more focusing on how to do good online education. And I must say that the CDIO community also share the ideas that they find right now. But we have not focusing on online education. I must say almost vice versa, to have online education as a help to specifically share content, but then for engineering education, focus on the activity connected to the design and build projects. So the project work, the teamwork with the students physically and physically connected to the faculty have been a key to the CDIO community, the physical university, so to speak. I myself have been involved in more than 25, 30 years to design teaching facilities, teaching and learning facilities for the whole university, but also for the School of Engineering, and both at KTH and Skoltech. And Skoltech, as I said before, is a brand new university. So we had the possibilities to work with the architects to really design a new campus with new facilities. So we have stressed all the time, I have stressed all the time, the importance of the physical meeting and the physical environment for the students and the faculty members, and also including now more industry-oriented projects. So I'm the first one to really not fight for the online. But I have a but. 1993, KTH started what we called KTH Online. And some of you know Christina Edström. Christina was one of the employees in KTH Online. And I was also involved in creating the KTH Online. We had some ideas at that time to fill the content into video slots, video cassettes. And we did, but it was not a success. Why? I'm not quite sure. The technology was much less mature at that time. People were not ready. We were too early. So KTH Online was just for 3 or 4 years, and then it died by themselves. At the same time, when the video came, we did some interesting projects that we can share later on also. We had, and I published a paper about collaboration in distributed student teams. So we created student teams on 2 and 3 universities, as you can do in Cairo, and Ain Shams and Masura, and other university in Egypt, and have student team distributed and collaborating to solve a problem. And to do this, you need online tools to do it, because you don't meet physically. So we did some work, as we published also, in creating international. It was in international distributed teams, but you can of course have distributed teams nationally too. And now we can have distributed teams even within the university when everything is online. If you can share meeting rooms and so on and so forth. But you can collaborate on distance, and we proved it 20 years ago. It was possible, and the result was fascinating. It was very good results. What we also did was having remote labs. We found that some of the equipment were very expensive, and we need to use it more than doing a 2-hour lab work physically. So we created cameras and possibilities to change parameters on the heavy equipment, machineries. And by doing this, we could, the student could make laboratory on this equipment remote. So the remote lab project was also successful, and still of the labs are still going in the world, I know. I'm not quite sure if you are experienced to have these remote laboratories. A third thing we did was also making what I call the lab in your pocket. You can have your lab equipment in your pocket, because it's so you can miniaturize it, and it was within Mechatronics. So we created small boxes with components, as you can have almost in your pocket. And then the students were able to take it home and do all the lab sessions at home. And then they could also play with it for other reasons. If they had some ideas, they could test different things when they had done the objective with the lab. So the lab in the pocket is also published, and I think you have similar things. So why I'm telling you about this, we have at KTH and elsewhere courses for designing and organizing blending and online learning courses. So one of the ideas we had to create more standalone online sessions was around this topic. So about designing and organizing blending online courses. I share that idea with you because you have the possibilities to, through the chat, comment and tell us if this is a good way to continue the implementation of CDIO to give you more skills and knowledge and experience with the online courses. The other idea is to create more standalone online sessions is about designing the CDIO Capstone courses. As you might know, we encouraged every program to add on courses, actually one each, or one practical course, one project-based course each year. But in the end of the education, in the 4th year, in the bachelor, and the 2nd year in the master, if you have a 4 and 2 year program, you should have a capstone course. Sometimes integrated with a thesis, sometimes standalone. It's different models of these capstone courses. Also, the CDIO community have a lot of experience to create these capstone courses. And I myself organized what we call the Mechatronics capstone course. And I know that some of you have listened to Martin Grimheden, who was my student, and he's implementing and running those courses. I did some testing, or I created projects, team-based, and the teams, the size of the teams were between 12 and up to 25 people in the same team for one semester. And managing a team solving a real industrial problem with 20 students in one team, that is really a workforce. It's so interesting to see what happens when they organize the work, and they learn a lot, and the industry they're working for, the company they're working for, are impressed over the result. So we can make more organizing, more learning around how to design those capstone courses. And I know that you have also experience in your university that you can share with others. The third one is about experimental learning. And I don't know if you saw, but on some of the slides that I showed before was the name experimental learning. MIT have a center for experimental learning, and I think they are willing to share some of the experience in one or two of these standalone online sessions, and even be also included in the face-to-face workshop later on. Experimental learning is about it's connected to active learning. It's you use practical work, experiments to learn about a subject. So they take it's about learning by making experiments, if we should make it simple. So I'm looking forward to this type of activity, and also if we can have experimental learning online, see how it works when you work online. The fourth idea I have for a standalone session that might be interesting for you to learn from is my Skoltech experience. As I said before, created totally new university, and we integrated some really creative new methods that we also have been running now for 5-6 years as Skoltech develops. And it was a creation with MIT. So many of the ideas was coming from MIT, and I know I shared some of them with you when I visit Egypt and Cairo in December last year. One I'm thinking of is to introduce the innovation workshop when the student entered the university, to have a welcome, a CDIO welcome, where the student get together with the faculty members and elder students, students from year 2, 3, 4, and also PhD students. Everyone in the university should be engaged to welcome the new students. And we did it in a forum that I can share, and we called it the innovation workshop. So that's an idea. We also introduced some other interesting things to the students. So we have a period of a study period in January between the semesters, when we have open sessions. So we call it independent learning, ISP. And I can also share those ideas in a session or in the face-to-face workshop, to get you to think about some creative ideas to change your way of teaching and learning. Pick the best and adopt it to your situation, and be happy with the new result you will receive. And we also encourage the student to be part of this kind of creation of activities. We also introduced the extracurricular, co-curricular concept that in parallel with the credit-bearing courses and programs, the student had the opportunity, the university had the opportunity to also arrange co-curricular activities. And I know that you at your universities do it, but maybe you can do it in other ways, so we can discuss the co-curricular in those sessions connected to the Skoltech experience. The fifth one that we can do also in a standalone online session is introducing what I call, and also MIT call, the industrial immersion. That the students should have a practical experience together with an industry, but also in relation to the academy, to the university, and it should be credit-bearing. The industrial immersion program or course could be different, and in Skoltech we introduced one concept and MIT have another concept. So to share ideas around how to get the students and faculty members more in connection with the local industry, the national industry or local industry or international industry in the region could be of interest, I hope. So you can comment on chat or coming back with the ideas that you might have around this. I think I stop here because I was asking, we had a dialogue, Tamer and myself, and I cannot see if Tamer is online. But if you are, do you have something in mind that you want to add to this discussion? Sorry.
I am online. Should I do it now or?
Yeah, please. I don't know why now my... Yeah, before... Yes, please do.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that there has been some discussions within the Curriculum and Instruction Committee lately that about the face-to-face workshop that Mats would come here to Cairo to hold this face-to-face workshop. It was supposed to be in March, but because of this coronavirus situation, it was postponed to further notice. And from the current situation, we do not think that it will be possible to have this face-to-face workshop in 2020. And maybe the closest date that we can organize this workshop would be in January 2021. But in order not to lose time, and let's not wait until January, 6 more months. And so we have decided that we would start the basic concepts in these workshops to be in the form of online sessions. So Mats with Dan from MIT and some other colleagues as well are preparing a number of online sessions that will be announced shortly. And we will try to organize these sessions in July, August timeline so that people can start working with these ideas in the next semester starting September 2020. So this is just an announcement. So keep tuned for further notice. I hope that you have liked the idea so far of implementing CDIO in your courses and programs, and hopefully you will come again for the online sessions and start implementing them in your course starting September 2020. I guess that's all.
Okay, thank you, Tamer. I also want to add that the ideas I just presented is just ideas. We came up with this idea Tamer just told you about last week. So we are in the preparation, so I need feedback on selecting the topics that is most interesting for you. And I also have a disclaimer that I need to get support from some of my colleagues that I haven't reached out to yet, so I'm not quite sure if we could deliver on time, but I agree with Tamer that July, August will be perfect if you also want to have some ideas that you already now can integrate in your curriculum. I also want to add that we discussed that those more standalone sessions should be more interactive. So the sessions we have had right now have been mostly me to talking head, but we prepared the technology to have breakout rooms depending on the number of participants. We should also create some teamwork and try some new technology things. So it could be a little bit more interactive. I also can add that I'm willing to, if any one of you have specific questions and need some help, we can discuss the upcoming situation to get more supervision in terms of implementing CDIO in your specific course or your program. We haven't discussed it in detail, but in this situation when we are not able to do the full 5-day workshop until probably in the 2021, we had to be creative and active to understand that the students need to be our talent students need to graduate as full engineers, and we have to do our best to fulfill that one. I'm looking to my watch and I'm seeing that we are quite ahead of time. For my personally, I don't need another 5-minute break if Norhan.
Yes, do you want me to share the questions on the slide here?
Yeah, I think so. And then we can be more efficient, and so you can go back to your work and create a good education for the students. So please, Norhan, tell me some of the questions. Yeah, you can share it.
Okay.
Should I stop the sharing? Oh, okay.
I hope...
No, it's working. It's working.
It's working? Okay.
Yeah.
Question number 1 from Dr. Muhammad Awad. He has a question related to the stakeholder survey and the measuring scale. How to avoid the false and biased answers, especially from the industry, and the conflict of interest between different stakeholder response. Is there a guideline for survey analysis and design?
That's a good question. I have been involved in some of them, and firstly, it's a combination of personal interviews. We actually went out and were talking to people face to face, and we had a set of questions, of course, but during that discussion or dialogue, it came up ideas as answers. And of course, it could be a conflict of interest, it could be false or biased answers, but we at least had the personal contact with the people we were interviewing. We also have surveys, of course, and in that case, you never know what kind of answers you got. But I think we were quite good in taking care of the result. And the result is, of course, not true or false. It's a scale, and you see the tendency, and you don't get a specific answer. I can look into what types of guidelines we had for the surveys I have been involved in. Was that answer enough?
Dr. Muhammad, you can comment if you want.
Your mic is mute or something.
Hello?
Go ahead.
دكتور محمد اتفضل if you want to comment.
Okay. Actually, because we try to have kind of stakeholder survey before, and I feel that some of the answers from different stakeholder, if you consider academia, if you consider industry, different industry, they have different response. As well, some of them, they actually, when they fill this survey, they may, okay, one of the scale, we say that we want innovation. They may choose all of them innovations. So, although maybe this scale, we don't, it doesn't require to have, to provide our student to, with innovative skills in this, for example. So actually, I'm quite confused about depending on the stakeholder survey in the designing of the curriculum.
Okay.
I can comment on connecting to this CDIO syllabus. When we did the survey and the interviews and other input to this to the syllabus for the curriculum, we actually introduced number 4 in the numbering. It was about leadership, as I said before, but it also was to create innovations. And this one was specifically defined or asked from the external stakeholders. So, and the external stakeholders is not only companies, it's different organizations and the society. It could be, you know, who is running the electrical power lines and so on and so forth. It could be community-based companies and other organizations, especially in health, also healthcare. Anyway, so the external stakeholders were actually providing a lot of input for our curriculum in the syllabus for the Skoltech enterprise, especially the innovation part. And now I also know that the word innovation could be discussed in many different ways. What do you really mean by innovation? I stop there.
Okay. Do you want me to say the other question for Dr. Muhammad as well? Dr. Muhammad used remote lab equipment previously. However, the students will miss the feeling of touch and hands-on experience of adjustment, the hardware parameters of the device. It can be a solution during a coronavirus pandemic and with large number of students and limited equipment. But I think the best option is combination of remote experience and use a classic way of labs.
I agree, absolutely. It's not a replacing, but for some reasons you can have, the student can access maybe more expensive laboratory equipment once in a while. The lab in the pocket was a kind of remote lab where we gave the students the possibility to do the labs at home. So it's many different ways to do it. So I agree, a mix is probably the best one. And then you can also evaluate the different labs if there are some problems with the connections and the equipment. It could be also confusing for the students to work with remote labs that is not working. Remote labs could also be connected to modeling and simulation, of course, but when I say remote labs, I mean where we use real equipment. But I agree 100%, it should be a mix. But sometimes it's not a mix because it's only some labs that you do at the university, and maybe at the university you have old equipment and you have other things that is not as good as you can do it remotely on new professional equipment. A mix.
The next question. From Dr. Muhammad Awad as well. For Capstone project, do you teach it as crash course for compressed period or in regular semester and takes 15 weeks? I have experience of Capstone project at Ain Shams University, and usually the students were complaining that the project takes much time, which affect other courses in the same semester. I saw some universities teach it as crash course after the semester, and they try to integrate many courses in this Capstone project course. Which approach do you think is better for students?
Also a good question. There are many things around a capstone course. It should be a capstone course. It should be integrate different aspects of the curriculum, where the students have to combine knowledge and skills from different courses. My experience is firstly, the most important thing is to get the student motivated. And motivation is a complex history or a complex thing to understand what is motivating for the students. And I can expand that one for hours, just talking about the motivation. And the second part is also what is there around the capstone project. So my experience is sometimes when you have the student full-time, 100%, they have no courses in parallel, it could be a very good idea to have a very focused student perspective on the course. I know when I did the capstone projects, the student might have 1 or 2 courses in parallel, but because we were running for the full semester, and we didn't have so many credits that we could have it full time for the student. So it's many aspects. I'm not quite sure what you mean by a crash course, because for me it's absolutely not a crash course. This is a very, very heavy course where they have to use all the skills and knowledge that they have and learn a lot more, and also take time to interact with other students and also the society and the company. So for me, it's not a crash course. It's a full flash course that needs a lot of attention. I think I stop there.